Hey everyone! So if this background and setup looks familiar, then I hope that means that you just watched my Get Ready With Me story time. If not, go over to that video. I show you guys how I got this makeup look using mainly drugstore products. This video actually is going to be 18 lessons that I learned in 2018. And I know this might seem like one of those cliche videos, but I do feel like 2018 was a huge year of growth for myself. This channel is all about wisdom and learning. So the first lesson that I learned in 2018 is that we must disconnect to reconnect. You go to restaurants nowadays and you see that everyone in the family has their phone out and no one's paying attention. And I think it's really important to put our electronics away at that point and even shut off the TV sometimes, because we don't really find out things about the ones we love by sitting next to them and looking at a screen. We do so by turning off that screen, turning towards each other, talking to one another, playing maybe a board game, old school status, or even just even just talking and having a heart to heart. It's okay to have Netflix and chill, but we should also have time that's dedicated strictly to just talking and spending time, getting to know one another, showing each other love and affection, because that is what life is truly about. The second thing that I learned this year was that dreams don't work unless you do. And that was actually the background cover of my phone for all of 2018. It was a quote and it said, "Dreams don't work unless you do." And it was just a great reminder for me, because although I earned the title of founder and co-CEO of a company last year, that doesn't mean the work stops there. Actually, that's just the beginning of the journey. I see every day as a chance to learn and grow, and I don't think we should ever just stop and stay still and be stagnant. I think we should always keep moving and progressing. Dreams don't just miraculously happen, but they do so over time with dedication, patience, and just bringing in that hard work and consistency every single day. So that's the second lesson of 2018. The third lesson that I learned in 2018 is the value of experiences. Now, before 2018, I am grateful and lucky enough to have traveled, to have done a lot of cool things like zip lining, like going to the Grand Canyon, like snowboarding, like so many amazing things that some people do not have the opportunity to ever try. So I'm so thankful for that. However, 2018 was really spent traveling, trying new cuisines, going to my first Michelin star restaurants. Important also that we don't just save money and hoard objects and material things, but that we use money in order to gain experience, to visit new places. We should be always exploring new things and new adventures. So I think I really learned the value of experience in 2018. Fourth thing that I learned that is so important is to have a consistent self-care routine. If you don't have certain things work for you to fall back on, you're gonna be feeling pretty cruddy when, stress hits. Personally, I know for me, a hot bath is just one of those things that no matter what is going on, it's always going to make me feel better. Also, like cooking, some of my favorite dishes. I'm so sorry about all that background noise. Back to self-care. I think it's important to have a routine that works for you, that is going to make you feel better on your down blue day. The fifth thing that I learned is how I personally find inner peace. It's going to be different from person to person, but for me, I know if I'm just feeling anxious, if I'm feeling tension, if I declutter my surroundings, that is really going to help me attain peace. I also know that listening to music puts me in a better mood, as well as writing poetry and just reading any sort of book really helps me personally find peace. So I think doing a little bit of self-discovery and knowing what works for us is really beneficial, because then we can deal with our emotions in positive, constructive ways. The sixth thing that I learned was to only compete with myself. And I think in the past, I was always comparing myself to, well, this person, you know, is making this much every year. This person is living in this kind of apartment. This person's driving this kind of car. And I think rather than looking outwards, we need to look inwards, and we need to look at our own circumstances, because nobody lives a similar life. Everyone leads a different path. So I think it's important to only reflect on our own experiences and our own capabilities, and that way we can stay in our lane and we can really focus our efforts on ourselves. Seventh thing that I learned in 2018 was to say no. I would go more into depth on this, but my first video I ever posted to YouTube was called 3 benefits of saying no, and I'm going to link that down below. You definitely got to check it out, because there are so many benefits to saying no, and 2018 was the year that I stepped up and started saying no when it really counted. So check that video out. 8th thing that I learned in 2018 is that creativity is not always a light bulb moment. I, for so long, was relying on just having that moment where, you know, an idea for a poem came to me, an idea for a blog post or an Instagram post came to me. And I realized that creative light bulb moments happen, but we shouldn't rely on those, and we should do more, you know, proactive things to put ourselves in a creative zone in order to get that light bulb moment to occur. So for instance, I used to just think I would go about my day and a poem would come to me. Now my method is no. Sometimes poems just come to me, but sometimes I need to sit down, have some instrumentals going, look at inspiration, whether that be reading others' poems or reading my old poems, and that, you know, evoking something in me. So rather than kind of rely on these creative light bulb moments, I want us to actually dig for them by getting ourselves in those work modes, in those creative zones. The 9th thing that I learned was to not get attached to future plans. Now, this can be anything from a birthday party, going to the movies during the weekend, going to a certain college, being with a certain person. You should not get too attached to future plans, because nothing is guaranteed. So I might have like a date in my mind, like, okay, I'm supposed to travel this day, but I never see it as something concrete, because I always leave open room for chance and for life, because things happen, and I think it's good to not get attached to things that we can't control. The 10th thing that I learned is to always keep a youthful curiosity. I think after high school, after college, after, you know, we're done with formal schooling, it's easy to just get caught up into this zombie mode where we're not learning anything. But I think it's so important to remain open to new experiences, to trying new things, to, you know, trying out a new hobby, a new activity, because that is when we grow, is when we put ourselves in this youthful, childlike attitude. The 11th thing that I learned is to express gratitude daily. And yes, it should be daily. If you ever feel like you're in a rut and you're just not happy with the way things are going, maybe it's because you haven't taken a chance to really look deeply at your life and really be thankful for the things that you do have. It's easy to get caught up in the things we don't have. I don't have that Louis Vuitton purse. I don't have my dream car. I don't live in my dream house. But guess what? I do have a loving family. I do have a car that works. I do have a roof over my head. I do have clean water and food. I do have so much abundance and positivity and love to be grateful for. So rather than look at things we don't have, I think it's important to every day take a few minutes to just appreciate the things we do have and the things that we do sometimes take for granted. The whole thing that I learned is to reflect and adjust accordingly. So I think on a continuous basis, whether it be weekly or monthly, we should be checking in on our journal, checking in on our goals, and making sure that our day-to-day activities are aligning with our future vision. The 13th thing that I learned this year was to apologize. It doesn't matter how much time has gone by. It doesn't matter how much hostility, resentment, ill or weird, awkward tension or feelings are there. reach out and apologize. It's going to take a lot of weight off your shoulders, and it's going to make you feel like a better person for taking accountability for your wrongdoings. The 14th thing kind of goes with apologizing, and it's to show love without expectation. Now, I know this seems a little bit out there. Why would you show love without expectation? But all I mean is that it's okay to give without receiving. It's okay to give someone a Christmas gift and them not have something for you. It's okay to cook dinner for your friend even though they might not have done the same for you. It's okay to show love and have a big heart and be a good person. There's nothing wrong with that. I know sometimes we question whether we should do something nice, and we kind of make a decision based on whether we've been treated the same in the past. I am a strong believer in doing all that I can for those that I love. So not everyone operates that way, but I've learned to show love no matter, if I get something in return or if I don't, because at the end of the day, I'll be happy that I did my part in showing love and being a good person, whether it be being a good friend, being a good daughter, being a good sister, being a good, boss. You want to be a good role model for others, because the more you show love, the more the people around you will also want to show love. Maybe not even directly to you, but to everyone else in their life. So it's kind of this dominoes effect, and it's just really beautiful to show love and not expect anything in return. The 15th thing that I learned in 2018 was to reach out and make plans. I always had a difficult time maintaining, contact with my friends and initiating plans. And last year, I really made an effort to make plans, and I saw that I got so much in return, and I got so much closer to my friends. So I think it's important to carve time out to reach out, initiate, make plans. You don't always have to wait for someone else to initiate it. Also, reaching out is important, not even just to make plans, but in life. When I started my business in 2018, it was literally a must that I had to reach out to different lawyers, to different business owners, to my city council, to different people in the community to help me. The 16th thing that I learned was chunking. This is something that I've been doing for years, but I didn't know the name for it until I read Timothy Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week. If you have not read it, it's life-changing. And I know the idea is crazy. You're only going to work 4 hours a week, but really it has been done. You can only work 4 hours a week and double, triple, quadruple even the profits that you're currently making. And one of the things he talks about is chunking, and that's a method when you basically take a bunch of tasks that you do on a consistent basis, and rather than doing that every single day, you do it once, kind of in a grouped way. So, for example, I could either wake up every day and write a poem, right? Take 30 minutes, an hour to write a poem every single day. Or I can take 3 hours for the whole week and write 7 poems. So this really cuts back on time. This really gives better results. I've noticed this, even on promoting my business. I come up with like 20, 30 Instagram posts. And so they're ready to go. And it makes things really easy, and it makes you really efficient with your time. So I highly recommend. The 17th thing that I learned was to value and honor myself. And not only with my actions, but more importantly, with the way that I talk to myself. If we are feeling insecure, we're going to exert that onto others. So I think it's important to talk to ourselves highly, to value ourselves, to honor ourselves, to show ourselves love. And we need to watch what we say to ourselves. If you wouldn't want to talk to your baby sister or your baby brother in the way that you talk to yourself, then there's a problem, because you want to be talking to yourself in a way that's constructive, in a way that's positive, and in a way that's really elevating. The last thing that I learned also kind of goes along that positive thinking, and it's really about our thoughts on anything. Rather than having these negative, low thoughts, anytime we're having those thoughts, flip it into a positive way. So pretend we see someone that has something that we wish we had, and our first natural gut feeling is envy or jealousy. as soon as we realize we're having this negative, low vibrational thought, we're going to flip that thought. And rather than feeling envious, we're going to feel inspired and motivated. So I think it's important to catch ourselves when we're feeling these negative waves that aren't constructive to ourselves, and flipping that and looking at it in a constructive way, because there's always two ways to look at something, a negative way and a positive way. And we always want to be on the side that's looking at the glass that's half full. So with that being said, I hope you guys had an awesome 2018. I'd love to hear some of your lessons that you learned down below. See you guys next time. Bye.